What would your advice be?
Well, he's a funny bloke, your brother. What? No, I was saying he's a bit of a funny bloke, your brother.
Funny, why?
Well, he's funny.
What's funny about him?
Not liking work.
What's funny about that?
Nothing.
I don't call it funny.
Nor me.
You don't want to start getting hypercritical.
No, I wasn't that. I was only saying.
Don't get too glib.
Look, all I meant was...
Cut it! Look, I've got a proposition to make to you. I'm thinking of taking over the running of this place, you see. I think it can be run a bit more efficiently. I've got a lot of ideas, a lot of plans. How would you like to stay on here as caretaker?
What?
I'll be quite open with you. I could rely on a man like you around the place, keeping an eye on things.
Well, yes, look, listen, who's the landlord here, him or you?
Me, I am. I've got the deeds to prove it.
Well, listen, I wouldn't mind looking after the place for you. Wouldn't mind keeping an eye on it.
Of course, we come to a small financial agreement, mutually beneficial.
I'll leave that to you, Arthur.
Thanks. Listen, there's only one thing.
What's that?
Can you give me any references?
Huh?
Just to satisfy my solicitor.
Well, I've got plenty of references. All I've got to do is get down to Sidcup tomorrow. I got all the references I want down there.
Where's that?
Sidcup. He ain't only got all my papers down there. He got all my references. I know that place like the back of my hand. I was going down there anyway, you see. I got to get down there. I'm done.
So we can always get a hold of these references if we want them.
I'll be down there any day, I tell you. I was going down today, but I'm waiting for the weather break. Listen, you couldn't pick me up a pair of good shoes, could you? I got a bad need for a good pair of shoes. Can't get from one place to another without a pair of good shoes. You don't think you'd be able to pick me up a pair?
Been here without that window open.
You don't understand what I'm talking about. That bloody rain, man, come right in on me head. Spoils me sleep. I could catch me deaf a cold with it with that draft. That's all I'm saying. Just shut that window and no one's gonna catch any cold.
No, I couldn't sleep in there without that window open.
But what about me? What you got to say about my position?
You could sleep the other way around.
What do you mean?
Sleep with your feet to the window.
What good will that do?
Rain wouldn't come on your head.
Oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I mean, I'm used to sleeping this way. It isn't me has to change, it's that window. You see? It's raining now. Look, it's coming down now.
I think I'll take a stroll down the road. Down the Gold Loft Road. Got talking to a man there at a jigsaw. Actually had a saw bin. Looked in pretty good condition to me. I don't think it's much good in there. Have a walk down there, I think.
Listen to that. That's done me trip to Sidcup. Well, that's closing this winter now. You'll be coming in here.
Closing for the time being.
Oh, what's all that under that tarpaulin out there? Wood. What for?
Build me shed.
You haven't come across that pair of shoes you're going to look out for me, have you?
No, I'll see if I can pick up some today.
Can't go out in this with these, can I? Can't even go out and get a cup of tea.
There's a cafe just along the road.
That may be, mate.
I used to go there quite a bit. Oh, years ago now. But I stopped. I used to like that place. Spent quite a bit of time in there. That was before I went away. Just before. I think that place had a lot to do with it. They were all a good bit older than me, but they always used to listen. I mean, I thought they understood what I said. I merely used to talk to them. Talk too much. That was my mistake. Same in the factory. Standing there in the breaks, they used to talk about things. And these men, they used to listen whenever I had anything to say. It was all right. The trouble was I used to have kind of hallucinations. They weren't hallucinations. say? I used to get the feeling I could see things very clearly. Everything was so clear. Everything used to get very quiet. Everything got very quiet. All this quiet and this clear sight. It was... But maybe I was wrong. Anyway, someone must have said something. I didn't know anything about it. And some kind of lie must have gotten round. And this lie went round. Thought people started being funny. In that cafe, factory, I couldn't understand it. Then one day they took me to a hospital right outside London. They got me there. I didn't want to go. I tried to get out quite a few times, but it wasn't very easy. They asked me questions in there. Got me and asked me all sorts of questions. Well, I told them when they wanted to know what my faults were. Then one day this man, doctor I suppose, the Edwin, was quite a man of distinction, although I wasn't so sure about that. He called me and he told me I had something. He said they had concluded their examination. That's what he said. And he showed me a pile of papers, and he said, you've got this thing, this complaint. He said, there's only one course we can take, but I can't exactly remember how he put it. He said, we're going to do something to your brain. And if we don't, you'll be in here for the rest of your life. But if we do, you'll stand a chance. You can go out, he said, and live like the others. What did he want to do to my brain, I asked him. But he just repeated what he had said, you see. Well, I wasn't a fool. I knew I was a minor. I knew he had to get permission. I knew how to get permission from my mother. So I wrote to her and told her what they were trying to do. She signed their form, you see, giving them permission. Now, I know this because he showed me a signature when I brought it up. Well, that night I tried to escape that night. Spent 5 hours sawing through one of the bars on the window in this wall, right throughout the dark. They used to shine a torch over the beds every half hour, so I timed it just right. It was nearly done, and a man had in a fit right next to me. They told me anyway. About a week later, they started coming around doing this thing to the brain. We were all supposed to have it done in this wall. One at a time, one at a time. I was one of the last. And I could see quite clearly what they had done to the others. They used to come around with these, I don't know what they were. They looked like big pincers with wires on. Wires were attached to a little machine. It was electric. They used to fit the pincers, something like earphones, over the man's skull. There was a man holding a machine, you see, and he'd turn it on, and this chief doctor would fit these pincers, something like earphones, over the man's skull, and he'd keep them there. Then he'd take them off. They'd cover the man up, and they wouldn't touch him again until later on. Some used to put up a fight, but most of them didn't. They just lay there. Well, they were coming round to me, and the night they came, I got up and I stood against the wall. They told me to get on the bed, and I knew they had to get me on the bed. I knew they couldn't do it while I was standing up, otherwise they might break my spine. So I got up and I stood against the wall, and then one or two of them came for me. Well, I was younger then. I was quite strong then. I was much stronger than I am now. I laid one of them out and had another round the throat, and then suddenly this chief doctor had these pincers on my skull, and I knew he wasn't supposed to do it while I was standing up. This fight. And he did it anyway. So I did get out. I got out of the place, but I couldn't walk very well. I don't think my spine was damaged. That was perfectly all right. The trouble was, my thoughts had become very slow. I couldn't think at all. I could never quite get it together. And I had these headaches. Well, that's why I lived with my mother and my brother. He was younger than me. And I sat in my room and I laid everything out in order, all the things that were mine, but I didn't die. But you see, the thing is, I should have been dead. I should have died. Anyway, I feel much better now. But I don't go into places like that cafe anymore. I still clear places like that. I don't talk to people like that anymore. I've often thought of going back and trying to find the man who did that to me. But I want to do something first. I want to build that shed out in the garden.